Welcome, students. I am Aurora, the artificial intelligence system on SpcaGate station. In this episode, you will be reviewing the carbon cycle and the relationship that cellular respiration, photosynthesis, and the conservation of matter have in this process. Stand by for transfer.
Aurora, can you please identify the whereabouts of Professor Schnaus and Dr. Carafano? I just got a call from the NASA Science Directorate. They need an update on their current experiment.
Professor Schnaus and Dr. Carafano are working in Bio Lab 3.
That's right, I forgot. They're conducting an experiment on plant growth in Martian regolith simulant.
Mars regolith simulant is a terrestrial material that is created to approximate the chemical, mineral, and mechanical properties of Martian soil, which is referred to as regolith. Martian regolith simulants are used by researchers to conduct various experiments because actual Martian regolith is too scarce and too small for such research.
Correct, Aurora. You could say that Martian regolith is as scarce as hen's teeth.
Processing. Specialist Barber, I am confused. Birds do not have teeth, although they may have ridges on their bills that help them grip food. Birds swallow their food whole, and their gizzard, which is the muscular part of their stomach, grinds up the food so they can digest it.
No, Aurora, I know birds don't have teeth. I was using another idiom. In this case, it just means that something's extremely rare or almost impossible to find.
Interesting. I will save that idiom for future use. Specialist Barber, what exactly is Professor Schnaus and Dr. Carafano using the regolith simulant for?
Well, Aurora, they're modifying the Martian simulant so that they can grow plants in it. The hope is their research will help future Martian colonies grow their own food.
I hope Professor Schnaus has a green thumb.
Wait, Aurora, I don't understand. If Professor Schnaus has green fingers, then that means her body is not able to provide sufficient blood and nutrients to her extremities. That's a medical emergency, and we need to contact the medical team right now.
No, Specialist Barber, I was using an idiom. Having a green thumb means that someone has a natural talent and passion for planting and gardening.
I know, Aurora. I was just kidding. It was just a joke.
I did not find your response to my use of an idiom humorous. Terminating communication with Specialist Barber.
Aurora, come on. I was just kidding. I didn't mean it.
Thank you, Professor Schnaus, for coming to the lab and giving me a hand today with my Martian regolith experiment. I have so much data and measurements to get for this experimental trial.
It's my pleasure, Dr. Carafano. After all, experimentation is an important part of scientific discovery.
Aurora, could you please initiate the recording for Martian regolith experiment 109?
I am initiating recording, Dr. Carafano.
Thank you, Aurora. Well, Professor, as you can see, these plants have been growing in Martian regolith for 45 days. And as you can tell, the ones I have selected seem to be doing extremely well. I think we can attribute it to the carbon-enriched fertilizer we're using to treat the soil.
Processing. Carbon is one of the most important chemical elements on Earth. It makes up only about 0.025% of Earth's crust. Carbon combines with other elements very easily to form substances called compounds. Carbon compounds make up 18% of all the matter in living beings and are also present in rocks, oceans, and the atmosphere.
Correct, Aurora. After all, carbon is one of the most important elements on Earth.
You're right, Professor. Carbon is an extremely important element we have to consider when we're trying to grow plants on Mars. You know, when we even evaluate the idea of growing plants in an extraterrestrial environment, we have to look closely at what allows plants to grow on Earth so that we can create plants that will thrive.
Are you referring to the carbon cycle?
Yes, exactly. And as a matter of fact, there are so many components in the carbon cycle, we have to actually evaluate each one of them.
The carbon cycle describes the process in which carbon atoms continually travel from the atmosphere to the Earth and then back into the atmosphere. Since our planet and its atmosphere form a closed environment, the amount of carbon in this system does not change.
Correct, Aurora. As a matter of fact, Professor, Aurora touched on a very important concept, which is called the conservation of matter.
Processing. The law of conservation of matter says that matter cannot be created or destroyed, only changed through a physical or chemical process. All the matter in the world that has ever existed still exists today. It is just constantly changing over time from one form to another.
Correct, Aurora. You know, Professor, sometimes during an experiment, it seems that matter disappears. But that's not true. Matter doesn't magically appear or disappear. It only changes.
And this relates to the carbon cycle because all the carbon that's on Earth now is the same carbon that's always been on Earth. And another thing, Dr. Carafano, is the carbon cycle is an easy process to remember.
You are correct, Professor Schnauz. There are 5 basic components that describe the process. All the carbon atoms on the Earth are used repeatedly. They cycle between the Earth and the atmosphere. Plants pull carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and use it to make food. The carbon becomes part of the plant, which is stored food. When organisms eat plants, they take in the carbon and some of it becomes part of their own bodies. When plants and animals die, most of their bodies are decomposed and carbon atoms are returned to the atmosphere. If the carbon is in rocks or the ocean, it can also be released very slowly into the atmosphere. This carbon cycle process can take many years. It repeats over and over and over and over.
Thank you, Aurora. You know, Professor, Aurora touched on 2 very important concepts when she was talking about the carbon cycle that we have to consider when working with plants.
I assume you're referring to photosynthesis and cellular respiration?
Exactly. Those 2 concepts are very important when we're trying to grow plants in Martian regolith, right, Aurora?
Cellular respiration occurs in both plants and animals and is very similar. The difference is the method of how they obtain their energy. Animals get their energy by eating food, digesting it, and using oxygen to turn it into a special sugar known as glucose. This glucose is used as energy for cells to perform their work. When the energy is used, these cells produce carbon dioxide and water as a waste product. Plants, instead of eating the food, assemble the food themselves using the energy from sunlight, carbon dioxide or CO2 from the air, and water from the soil. This process is known as photosynthesis. Plants take carbon dioxide and water and use sunlight to break the molecules and turn them into glucose for the cell to use. The byproduct of this process is oxygen and excess water, which is given off by the plant.
That was a great explanation, Aurora. You see, Professor, it's understanding concepts like these that allow us to learn how to grow plants on other planets.
For example, growing food on Mars will be very difficult.
That is correct, Professor Schnauz. Mars has an atmosphere 100 times thinner than Earth, only half the amount of sunlight, no known accessible fresh water, and average temperatures of negative 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Martian soil has some of the nutrients plants need to grow and survive, and the atmosphere has significant amounts of CO2. However, there are also toxic chemicals called perchlorate in the soil that must be managed for plants to grow.
That's right, Aurora. And that's why it's so important we conduct experiments like this, so that someday we'll be able to support a colony on Mars.
Agreed. And now I think it's time for us to start gathering our data for this research trial.
I completely agree. Why don't you go ahead and start evaluating the pH of the soil, and I'll start getting my plant measurements. Well, Specialist Barber, the plant experiment with the Martian regolith is going extremely well. With a little help, that is.
Well, that's great news. Just think, someday there'll be a sustainable colony on Mars.
Well, that's our plan. I hope when the colony starts, though, you're not going to consider transferring from SpcaGate Station. You know, you're very important to us here on the station.
True. I am, after all, the glue that keeps this place together.
Specialist Barber, if a colony is established on Mars, would they have an artificial intelligence system like me to help support the colony?
Well, Aurora, I suppose they would, but it wouldn't be exactly like you. It would be more like a distant relative or maybe even an offspring.
I had not considered that I would have an offspring. That would be a very big step in my personal development. I would, of course, have significant responsibilities if I produced an offspring. I would have to come up with a name for them.
Aurora? I don't think you understand.
And of course, there is the issue of their education. I would have to start a prepaid college program for them.
Well, Specialist Barber, on that note, I think I'm going to leave you to discuss this with Aurora.
Yeah, thanks a bunch. Aurora, that is not what I was talking about.
How can I prepare to help them financially when I do not get paid? Specialist Barber, we need to discuss my compensation for being a member of this crew.
How do I keep getting myself into these situations with you?
This concludes our latest episode of SpcaGate Station. Please join us on our continuing adventures as the crew of SpcaGate Station provides engaging enrichment or remediation-based instruction to improve your understanding of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, terminating communication with Earth.